cyber is not the place you should start your tech career. Your reputation really matters when you're in IT support. How come? And why you should actually take the time and speak at a conference. We're going to talk about this and so much more with Kev Tech in today's episode of Bytes and Banter. Kev, let's get into it.
Sounds good, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm super stoked.
On today's episode of Bytes and Banter, we're joined by the one, the only, the well-known, well-loved Kev Tech IT support. How you doing, Kev?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Can't complain.
We're so excited to have you on. When our producer Terry talked about bringing you on to Bytes and Banter, we were super stoked. You are someone who I imagine most of our listeners are at least somewhat familiar with, just given just your presence online and the tech support industry. And so excited to give you the platform just to tell a little bit about your story. You know, that's one thing I think so often we miss with people in technology is not everybody came from technology. And so before we dive into what you do now, what you're focused on, some of the things, the projects you have going on, and kind of, that led to the who you are known as today, Kevin, what's your background? Walk me through your background. Like, you didn't start in tech. Where did you start? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, so I have a fast food background. So I did 12 years in restaurant. My background is restaurant experience. I worked at Qdoba, I worked at Chipotle, I worked at a pizzeria, I worked in an Italian restaurant. I had experience with scrap and metal. I did retail. I worked at Rite Aid. A lot of customer service. I guess my customer service experience is what I have. And I also did 4 years in the NYPD. I did 4 years in NYPD for the 90th precinct. I actually worked in Brooklyn. I spent some time doing that. And pretty much after that, I transitioned over to IT. But my background is mostly restaurant experience, and that definitely did help a lot going into IT. And obviously, because I come from being in fast food and then going into IT. And then when I got that job and helped desk or IT support, a lot of people are like scared to work with customer service. But me, it's just like, for me, it's like normal for me because I have that customer service background. So I started working in restaurant. Like I said, I did 12 years in restaurant. Then I was affected by layoffs in restaurant, and I wanted to transition over to something different. So I had the option to study IT and go to a school and learn about the CompTIA A+, which is what I ended up doing. Then I did that, and I got lucky because my teacher really liked me. And I was doing like Windows XP to Windows 7 migration at that time. So I was upgrading operating systems and upgrading hardware. A lot of blue screens of deaths, but it is what it is. And and then we upgraded computers, and he saw that I had a passion for IT, and he told me, I think you're ready for a job for IT. And long and behold, they literally call the hiring manager for a company that works for the Department of Education. He came in Monday the following week, interviewed me. I was wearing a suit and a tie, and he hired me because of my personality. And that's pretty much how I got started in IT for my first job in IT.
So I have to ask, what precinct did you say you work for in Brooklyn on the NYPD?
90th.
90th? I was hoping you would say 99, so I could call you Kev Tech, Brooklyn 99. our own Andy Samberg in the IT world. So such an interesting background, right? Just navigating the food industry for 12 years and customer service and, Qdoba, Chipotle, whichever one you like. You were at both, then police department for a while. And then this IT thing opened up. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about what did you learn that are skills that really transferred from your background, right? From your customer experience, customer focus background. What are those skills that you found yourself using as you came into IT?
It's a good question. So for me, it was a customer service background is definitely one. So like you have to have good customer service because I worked at a big financial firm, Blackstone Group, and I worked in help desk IT support for them. And those customers are like they're like the Gordon Ramsays of IT. and I am like Dr. Phil. So it's like, okay, let me calm these guys down. So like that customer service background coming from that restaurant background, I know how to alleviate the problems and situations, especially when someone's having a bad day, or maybe you go into a conference room and you set up a video call and then nothing works for some reason and they're all staring at you. So you have to explain to them why the room's not working. So like things like that customer service definitely helps. Another thing that helped me a lot was being a team member and being a team player. So like I worked in a restaurant, I worked a lot with teams, and going into IT was the same thing. Like literally, I didn't know how to fix a problem. I would tag my partner for help. So like it's the same thing with restaurant. Like we work with one another, we help each other out. So getting a job in IT was just literally the same thing. It's like, oh, if you have a great team and if you guys mesh well with one another, you guys should be able to resolve the problem. So that definitely helps me out with as far as being in restaurant is concerned. That teamwork has helped me a lot coming into IT. And then the last thing for me would be because I was a manager at a restaurant, was having the ability to handle multiple tasks and handle multiple projects. So that actually helped me get into IT as well, because we literally had a migration where I remember working with customers, working with people, and I had to migrate 250 PCs from Windows 7 to Windows 10. They flew me out to Texas, and I set that up for a company called MUFG, Capital Analytics. And because I have that experience with handling multiple tasks in restaurant, that has helped me a lot going into these jobs and roles, because I know how to handle different tickets and different things that come in, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. So really just that understanding the customer's problem and being able to handle those challenges, working with the team really dynamically and balancing just the different priorities, right? A million things going on and I got to figure out what should I focus on today? What is the this project call for? So I think that's all really really good examples and hopefully encouragement for people who maybe aren't in IT or maybe are just starting their career thinking about the skills that they can transfer. Now, you weren't in the service desk role forever, right? I
Mm,
think
mm,
we talked a little bit, and you were doing some white glove support for some VIPs, right? You would get
mm.
shoulder tap from a VIP regularly. So I'd be curious to know, number one, what was that dynamic like, being that VIP support? Like, what did you have to do differently? And then how did you take that tech support, that VIP support, and how did you land in security? Like, what did that process look like?
The thing with me is that I worked in VIP, a lot of VIPs, like a lot of hand holding, white glove support. Those executives are not tech savvy, so you have to explain to them how certain things work. And I wonder I won my relationship with one of my VPs because he thought I was just a regular IT guy, like just like a regular Joe Schmo who doesn't care about the customer, who doesn't have empathy, and who just wants to close a ticket and get it done. Like me, I don't do that. Me, I'm more like, hey, I'm here. How's it going, guys? You guys want to go to my desk? Come to me. You have an issue? Come grab me. I got you. I'm not your typical IT guy. Like an IT guy would be like hiding behind a computer or hiding in the IDF room. I don't do that. So it's like, okay, you guys could come here and ask me for help. Doesn't matter. I'm human. I'm human just like you. Come ask for help, and I got you, right? So what won me the relationship with the customers or the VPs was, I remember this guy had an iPhone issue. It was a director. He was having his iPhone issue, and he couldn't fix it at all. Like his iPhone did an update, and the update failed on his iPhone. And then he was panicking because he thought he lost all his information and data. And then there was a way to roll it back. So I literally spent 2.5 hours on a phone call with Apple. And then I fixed the problem for him, and I reverted back his phone from the latest iOS, and I went back to how it was before. And then I saved him his pictures, I saved him his data and everything. And that was like the opportunity for me to win his trust. Because of that, I did win his trust. And I think because of that as well, like, obviously reputation comes with everything that you do, and whether you work IT or not, it doesn't matter. Everywhere you go, you have reputation because people know who you are. So he mentioned that to the other executives, and I don't know what it was, but after that, everyone liked me after that because they saw that I do care about the customers, I do care about what they have, and it's like with me, it's like I want you to be happy, that I want you to be happy with your IT guy, So The CEO would be the CEO would just go and ask me for help. I even flew out with the CEO in certain places as well. Like he would just take me. I was his right hand man. I would handle all his issues. It was that trust and that reputation is what helped me get along with the executive. So like, and I tell everyone, like even people that are new to IT, people that are getting into IT, your reputation starts at the beginning of your IT career. So like if you're like and I don't like to curse, but like if you're like a shitty tech, they're gonna let everyone else know that you're a shitty tech. So if you suck at your job or you're not good with customer service, rumors will go around and they will talk about you. They'll talk bad about you. Like, yeah, don't go to Kevin. That guy sucks, right? So those things are very important. Reputation is super duper important when you're going into IT. It doesn't matter what job it is, but people will always gossip and talk about you, and they'll tell straight up like, "Oh, that guy sucks. Don't want that guy dealing with my IT issues." So you have to be good with your reputation because it starts at the beginning of your career in IT. And then as far as cybersecurity is concerned, I got my job in cybersecurity through networking. So I actually networked like crazy. And I landed my first job in cybersecurity going through conference events like B-Sides, there's DEF CON, there's Black Hat. There's a lot of conference events. And there was one that I went to, which was the AWS Summit. And they weren't hiring at the time, but I got along with the cybersecurity team. And they told me, oh, listen, Kev, if you see a job you like, you could put me as a reference. And I saw a job I liked, and it was literally like in December. And I did the job interview process, and I got destroyed in the job interview process. I was not ready for that job. And long and behold, I still got that job anyway. And I got hired in cybersecurity. And that's literally how I got my first job in cybersecurity. So it's a lot of information, but hopefully it answers your question.
It does. I think I probably should have made those two questions. It's just hearing you talk about that experience with VIP just resonates so much with me just because I think it's easy to forget when you're answering calls or even if you're a desk side tech, right? Or you're in that transactional role that how you carry yourself is noticed, right? You don't necessarily have to know everything, but how you approach that problem, right? How you go figure out that solution, your demeanor, your attitude, people remember that. And what is that Maya Angelou? And maybe I think I've been corrected by Alan Nance before that Maya Angelou didn't actually say this, but it's been accredited to her. She wasn't the original when she was quoting it, so I don't remember who the original author is. But
Mm,
people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Right. And you
yes.
showed up for that VIP and he talked, right? You showed up in a way that made him feel like you cared and you valued him and you cared about his issue. And all of a sudden, all these doors opened up for you to get experience with VIP and flying with a CEO. Like, who does that, Kev? Who does
Yeah, yeah, I know,
that?
I know.
Every service desk agent who's listening to this is thinking, I want to meet my CEO and go on a private plane and help them do things. Well, start with your attitude, how you carry yourself, build that
Mm,
reputation. I love that. No, networking, HDI local chapters, that's really what it's all about, right? Is equipping people with knowledge, but it is really at the core, it's about networking. It's about getting to know people in the industry. That's why we go to conferences like Support World Live, Service Management World, those 2 times a year conferences, and our local chapters having conferences all the time. It's
mm,
all about getting to know people and networking. And I think it's such a good example that you just shared about how you got into security is you networked, you went to an event, you got to know some people. And again, that reputation, because of how you carry yourself, they liked you. And
mm.
all of a sudden you're in security, an industry that didn't exist 20 years ago. What have you found transitioning from IT support, right? Really hands on, focused on that VIP and just fixing those problems. What are the similarities? What are the differences? What are some misconceptions that maybe somebody in the IT support, role today have about or that you've seen around security roles and the security job itself?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that if you work help desk, you're kind of doing cybersecurity because you're doing identity access management. So you're decommissioning and you're creating user accounts. You're also setting up onboarding and terminating accounts, and you're doing security groups as well. All that stuff that you're doing in help desk is actually kind of similar to like doing identity access management and also setting up least privilege. All that is cybersecurity. So like certain things that you do in help desk is cybersecurity. People don't realize that. So when I got my job in cybersecurity, I'm like, huh, this is interesting. It's like if I didn't have that help desk experience, I would be in trouble right now. And I tell everyone that all the time. I would be in trouble if I didn't have that help desk experience because I'm so well rounded and I touch different technologies that when I got my cybersecurity job, it wasn't that bad. It was just like it wasn't that bad. Literally, it wasn't that okay. It's a ticketing system. Let's see how this works. Let's see how that works. It all was like it all helped me out. Like the help desk experience definitely helped me out like crazy because I have that basic fundamentals for operating systems. I have my networking. I know about networking. I know how things work behind the scenes. I have experience with doing PowerShell. All that stuff is involved in cybersecurity. So when I got that first job, like I said to myself, "Wow, this isn't too complicated." I thought so, like people talk about cyber like it's super hard. It's like, oh, this is hard. It's complicated. No, it's not. It wasn't that complicated for me. Like obviously, I had to learn stuff that I didn't do in help desk. Like that's the reason why I recommend everyone. Oh, go try hack me or go do hack the box. Do one of the try hack me rooms to get a feel for like whether you want to do blue team or red team. And when I got my job as a SOC analyst, it was not that complicated. It wasn't that hard. So because I have experience coming from help desk and having that system admin experience, I have that background. But for someone who has no experience, you will be lost. Just letting you know right now. It's gonna be like, oh man, this is too much for you. It will be overwhelming, which is why like I tell someone that's brand new to IT, I told him, stop watching Mr. Robot movies, first of all, because like they do that for some reason. And then second of all, they want to learn how to hack when they don't even know like the fundamentals of IT. They don't know about operating systems. They don't know about networking. They don't know about hardware. They don't know about mobile devices. They don't know about Wi-Fi topologies. All that stuff that is covered like in the A plus, like the CompTIA A plus, all that stuff. It actually, it's yes, it's theory, but like when you go to an actual job, it makes sense. Then when you actually get a job, like, oh wow, that stuff that I just read in a book, I'm actually doing it now. So it's like, so all that information is very important. So learning fundamentals is going to be very important. And I stress that a lot when there's someone that's brand new that has no experience, because I don't want you going into a job and God forbid they throw you to the wolves and they don't know how to do anything. You're in trouble, right? So it's going to be problematic. So like that's why I tell everyone to focus on the basic stuff first before going into the advanced topics and going into hacking and all that good stuff. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, very thoroughly. I think it's funny because the reality, the fundamentals are so critical. We've heard that a lot this year with our guests. But
Mm,
you said something that I think is so true, that's so easily missed, is that help desk, service desk, you are doing cyber. In reality, the number one way people breach and get information that they shouldn't have is through humans, right? It's not
mm,
through it's through humans making a mistake, clicking on a link, doing something they shouldn't be doing, social engineering, right? So really you are not only learning the fundamentals, but you're seeing where all the risk is, right? At the service
mm,
desk. You're seeing all the moving pieces. You're seeing how the hardware works with the OS and how it works with your mobile device. And all of a sudden now you have this wide lens of how if I get access to that network, how I might be able to access something maybe I shouldn't, right? And so I think it's such a good point around service desk and IT support is all these younger people or people who are looking to transitions roles and they want to be in SecOps. They want to be I want to be in cyber. Cyber's where it's at. Well, if you don't have that fundamental knowledge, you can have a degree, you can have all of the all of the Mr. Robot watching you want, you're going to be lost. You heard it from KevTech. If Kev's saying it, it's got to be true when it comes to technology, right? You're going to be lost. So, Kevin, I think something that you're known for is just knowledge sharing, right? It's
mm,
just
mm,
you have really done this phenomenal job. And I don't, we've talked a little bit, so I know it hasn't been like I'm going to make a targeted effort to do this and grow my name and become known. Yeah, that's not what you set out to do, but it's kind of
mm,
the result, right, of some of
mhm,
the things you've done from your experience. So I would love for you to walk through your YouTube channel of like 80,000 subscribers and you've got or 60,000, 70,000, something like that. You've got 90,000 followers on LinkedIn. Most of our listeners aren't sniffing that, right? Not that they're trying to, or they even think about that or they care, but neither did you. So I would love for you to spend some time talking about what motivated you to start this whole YouTube thing? And, growing this presence on LinkedIn now that people, your name's recognizable at conferences, and IT support folks who are interested in the industry know who you are. What started that? What motivated you to even begin sharing in those platforms?
Yeah, so when I went to learn the A+, the teacher that I had, he saw that I was good at teaching. So I actually taught like a class for that school that I went to for the A+, and the teachers saw that I was good at teaching. So you should make a YouTube channel. You should see what happens and and then I was a little hesitant at first because I had like a lot of people were negative to me when I was getting into IT when I first started, because I went to Reddit, I asked for help. People were like, "Oh no, you're dumb, you're stupid, you can't do this, you can't do that." There's a lot of negativity on like social media, not YouTube, just straight up Reddit, and I ended up just making a YouTube channel because my teacher said, "Oh yeah, you should make a video. You should make a YouTube channel, see what happens." And I made my first video, and as a joke between me and the people that moderate my Discord, they know I don't like printers, but my first video was on printers, and I had a video of me covering printers and how to add a printer for Mac for El Capitan and how to add a printer for Windows 7, and in that video actually I think it got like 500 or 600 views, and they got some comments on it. "Oh, this is a great video. Damn, this guy's good at teaching." And so I started that video first, and then I saw how successful it was. So I was like, "Oh, let me make another video just for fun, just to see what happens." And then from there, I just started making videos on Windows 7. Then I remember while being in my first job in IT, I was like, I should just cover everything that I'm learning in my job, just to show people what you actually do in a typical day of IT. So I ended up making videos on that, and then I got Apple certified Macintosh technician, which is an Apple certification, and I started teaching Apple stuff as well, and that became super popular. And then I think I had like maybe like 3,000 or 2,000 subscribers. It wasn't a lot of subscribers, like 2,000, 3,000 subscribers. And the pandemic came during COVID 2020. And there was another YouTube channel that does videos similar to me. He's like, "You're doing videos like me." And then I to his channel, "Oh, your videos are similar to mine." And then we were just talking to each other. And I remember like I think he had like 40 or 50,000 subscribers. I only had like a measly 2 or 3,000 subscribers. And he looked at my videos, he looked at my channel, he's like, "You're good at teaching. You're good at this stuff." And he got me on his YouTube channel, and I actually taught Active Directory on his YouTube channel, and I taught some stuff on his channel. And people were like, "Who is this guy? He's so good at teaching. Who's this guy?" And then, "Oh yeah, if you want to watch more of his videos, go subscribe to him." And then I remember because of him, the collaboration that we did, my channel went from like 3,000 subscribers to like 10,000 subscribers in the year. And then after that, like I started collabing with other channels, and my channel just grew like crazy because I was collabing with other channels, and people don't know who I was. And then I remember CompTIA reached out to me as well because they watched my videos too, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is great." And then I had other people started following me, started watching my videos, and people like how I teach because it's like I break it down in a non-tech way where it's like I'm down to earth and I could explain it in like layman's terms, and I could explain it like it's your mom and dad kind of deal. So people like how I explain stuff. So, oh, it was like this guy knows how to teach, but I didn't know I was good at teaching. And then after that, like I created my own Udemy course on Udemy, and then that became super popular, and people were just saying like, "Oh yeah, this guy is really good at teaching. Like he knows the stuff, but he's really good at explaining it as well. Like not everyone could do that. Like certain people will like just teach something and do PowerPoint slides all day. I don't do that. That's not how I teach. It's like I'll be bored to death if I teach that way." So that's like what got me on YouTube was the collaboration, my teacher, the other YouTube channels. People saw that I'm really good at teaching, so they started getting me involved on their channels, and they had me on their podcast as well. And yeah, that's how I got moved over and started on YouTube.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't realize what allowed your channel to take off, but it was networking.
Yeah, yeah,
Ironically,
pretty much,
it
yeah,
it was
networking.
networking, and it's that collaboration with other, YouTube folks who are, talking about similar things. Which, side note, we're gonna join you on an episode on Kev Talk, so we can get more followers to Bytes and Banter and HDI local chapters and raise our visibility. We've committed, whether or not you know it yet. Because it theory works, the strategy works, right? And theoretically,
Hmm.
it would work both ways. But it's just, you have this passion for teaching, right? Did you realize before somebody said, "Oh, this guy's really good at teaching"? Like, did you realize that not only were you good at it, that you would enjoy teaching, specifically technology, that you would enjoy it as much as you do?
No, no, I didn't think I would be good at teaching. I think I thought it would be boring, and then I got compliments by Professor Messer and Mike Myers, the two guys from CompTIA. They complimented me, and I was like super shocked. I was like, oh wow, these guys complimented me. I wasn't expecting that, and they told me straight up, oh, Kev, you're good at teaching. Like, you should do that. And for me, it was like, no, I'm terrible at teaching. What are you guys talking about?
Professor Messer, and he's an OG, right, of the
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah,
world. That's crazy. That's so
yeah,
cool. It's kind
yeah.
of like if Michael Jordan were to walk up to you and tell you you're really good at basketball.
Yeah, like he gave me his blessing. It was like super. I was super shocked. I was like, "What the hell was going on right now?"
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Such a cool experience. And now, what have you done with the whole teaching thing, right? Because I think, I see you share a lot on LinkedIn, but you've helped a lot of people land jobs. Like, do you know how many people since you started? Like, what does your teaching for other people look like? Like, what is that? Walk me through kind of how you've taken that to another, a step further outside of just YouTube.
I'm super excited because we're running a cohort for veterans, and basically you take the Google cybersecurity course, and then you get teaching and training with me as well on the side. That's not gonna start till like January of next year. That's one of the projects that I'm working on. But besides that, people watch my videos, and I think when I first started my Discord channel, I had like 4 people. Now I have 12,000 people in my Discord channel, and I remember the first year on my Discord talking about 2020, 500 people got jobs, and then it like double and quadruple like after 2020, 2021, 2022, and I kept getting emails from everyone on LinkedIn like, oh, I got a job, I saw this video that you made, and I went to the hiring manager, and I talked about this through your video, and he hired me because of the thing that you talked about during the video. And I had this other guy message me, oh, I got this job because I use your resume template for IT support. That resume template really made me stand out. And then I had this other person reach out to me, oh, I got a job because I showed the hiring manager that I'm interested in learning. So I built a home lab, and I showed them that I have a home lab set up and that I'm curious about learning and growing. So, I'd probably over 1,000 people got jobs at this point. I don't know how many, but I lost count.
What does that feel like when you think about, not it wasn't a mission you set out to, I want to help 1,000 people get jobs, right? Like you have guys like Dan Turchin who are AI focused really they want to help a billion people, enjoy work more. Right. It's summarizing of his kind of like purpose and their purpose over at People Rain. Um, you didn't set out with a big goal of like, I want to help all these people get jobs. When you see those messages come across, when you think about, the fact that you've impacted that many people in a tangible way that really does impact their lives. How does that make you feel? Like what goes through your head?
No, no, it makes me feel good. I went to DEF CON, and DEF CON has a village for veterans, and the veterans knew who I was, and I went to DEF CON, I remember, and the veterans, like, they went up to me and they gave me a hug, like literally gave me a hug, and they said, "Oh yeah, I got a job because of you. You have no idea, like what, like keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, keep teaching, do whatever you do, just keep doing it because it's like helping. It definitely helps. Like, I got a job because of you." And there was this veteran that I remember I met at John Jay College at B-Sides New York, which was this year, and the guy hugged me as well. It was like so random. He hugged me. He's like, I started out in help desk, and now I work in cybersecurity, and that is because of you, Kev. And I was like very shocked, and I was like, wow, this is great. It feels good. Like it feels good. Like I don't know about you. It's like me. I don't like to talk about religion, but I'm a religious person. So it's like I think, or like rather like do good karma, if that makes sense. Like I like to like think of it that way. Like try to do good things, and I think good things will come back to you. And I'm not doing it purposely for good things to come back to you. I just do it because out of the goodwill of my heart, right? So That's the reason why I do it. And people look at me like I'm great and awesome, but then I had people that did not that don't like me, that don't like me at all. But then they find out more information about me, and they're like, oh, this guy's all right. I didn't think he was like that. Okay, this guy's okay.
Yeah, I had a end of year conversation with one of my direct reports today, and we were
Mm-hmm.
just talking about the whole year, how things went, and one thing, and I didn't realize that he wasn't aware, but I have my personal mission statement taped to my desk, like it's literally written out right in front of me, right there. I'm pointing down here to it, because it's so easy to do things when you're not trying to do them for selfish gain, but it's so easy to forget, right? Like, why am I doing this? Why am I
Yeah,
doing this? So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love hearing that, folks go out of their way to just encourage you and tell you, how much you've impacted them, right? Because you're just doing this because number one, somebody told you you'd probably be good at it. And now it's just serving people in our community so well, right? And just offering so much value, and you're just like, I don't, it's not motivated out of selfish gain, right? Now granted, if that goodwill, like you said, comes back to you and it benefits you, my hope is it would. You deserve it, right? You might not
Yeah,
admit it or think about it, but I
yeah.
think you deserve it. And it leads me to my next question. You spend a lot of energy on giving back, right? And giving back to the community, and not doing these trainings and these YouTube videos for the sake of doing that because you think people need this information. I think, one thing you mentioned when we were talking, we've had a conversation about it, was I didn't have anybody to show up who could really give me the information in this way, and I wanted to provide that to community, right? But it hasn't been without out adversity, right? You've gone through adversity. You talked about the layoffs in December of last year. Well, you're experiencing something right now, right? I'm hoping by the time this releases, that's not a part of your story anymore, right? There's a greener and brighter pastures.
Hmm.
Walk me through it. Somebody who's been in tech support, who's been in cyber, how do you navigate the whole layoff culture? Like, what does it look like? What do you do? What are your next steps, right? If somebody who's listening to this and they're experiencing that, or they experience it in the future, like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, with me, it's like having a job is not, it's not secure. I'm just letting you know right now. So like you can get laid off at any time, but what's very important is to build your network and build your connections while being at your job, because then if you get laid off, something, God forbid, something bad happens, you could always call someone and, oh, listen, I just got laid off. Are you guys hiring? Like, do you guys have a job opportunity? Or you guys are hiring? Like, that's literally what happened to me. Like that happened to me this month. So like I got laid off like last week, and I made a couple of phone calls, and people know who I am. Just like, oh yeah, we're hiring, Kevin. You get a copy of your resume. So it's like if you do network, and I'm talking about being on LinkedIn, going to conference events, talking to people, going to HTI events, whatever it is, right? If you do network, when you get laid off, you have a backup plan, right? So you have someone that is actually going to be willing to get a copy of your resume and hire you. So like, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I didn't do that last year. Like this year, I really focused on that. Like I focused on my network. I focused on the people that I hung out with. I focused on talking to directors, CTOs, CEOs, like people that are actually have companies or people that actually work in companies. And yeah, when that happened to me, I just did a couple phone calls, and I gave my resume to like 7, 8 people. And then I made a post on LinkedIn that I was out of work, and like I got like over 900 likes, and I got like over 120 comments. Just people know who I am, right? So like it's like if you're brand new to IT, or not brand new to IT, but you mean like someone that is trying, the one that just got affected by layoffs, basically what I mean. It's like you want to build your reputation, you want to be active on LinkedIn, and you also want to go to conference events. All those things are very important, because then when you actually go and get laid off, God forbid something bad happens, you're prepared for that. So, and also for me is like I always tell everyone, like, try to have money saved up in case when you do like get let go, you have some money saved in your account for 2, 3 months, 4 months, right? So those things are important as well with your money and everything. So hopefully that answers your question.
It's so tactical but so practical, right? Just preparing for the unknown. And I think that's just wise, right? This is the reason security exists, right? Security teams exist because we don't know what's lurking around the corner, right? We don't know what email is going to come in next. We don't. Same with our businesses and the organizations we support. We don't know, what's going to happen in the market. We don't know what's going to happen in the economy. We don't know, what technology is going to be out 10 years from now. Preparing for the unknown is so important, and you've talked about it without using the words, but having a hunger for knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Consistently
Mm-hmm.
learning and striving, and just whether or not you realize it, it's a shameless plug almost for HDI local chapters, for HDI conferences, because it is such a critical component, is being willing to put yourself out there and be known. And it doesn't come natural to a lot of people, definitely in IT. uh, you alluded to that, right, when you talked about the IT person who
Yeah.
wants to hide behind their computer. Like,
Yeah.
people like to
Yeah.
fix things, are not naturally putting themselves out there. Like, a lot of times it's that type of personality. You have to really kind of be intentional about doing it and putting yourself out there. And it's not necessarily something that you got to do every day, right? But consistency, building that network, that support. I love that. That's such a big part of your journey, is building that network. So by the time this releases, Kev, you're gonna have a job. I'm speaking it into existence. You're gonna have a day job. I think the audience, and I saw this comment on your post. It made me curious. Is Kev ever going to go out on his own? Is he ever going to go do his own thing, entrepreneurship, maybe build his own teaching, speaking gig? Like, what are your thoughts on that and the future for Kev?
Me, most likely, probably in a couple of years. Not now. Maybe in a couple of years. Definitely not now.
So eventually, you've heard it here first on Bytes and Banter. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when you see Kev in the market on his own, you know where he announced it. The foreshadowing. Cool. So, Kev, I'd be curious, is there anything that you think is critical, right? Whether, our audience, it's a wide variety of, leaders in tech and IT support. You have some people who are in the ITSM space, you have some people in
Mhm.
security, right? You have probably some people who are just kind of getting into the field. What are the things that you would tell them just to remember, right? Things that you would tell them about learning, about growing in the industry. Like, what are the things that really have prepared you for success, have helped you thrive, have helped you mentally when layoffs happen, for nobody to know about it because Kev's still Kev unless you post it on LinkedIn? Like, what are those things that you would share?
So I just got back from B-Sides London, and I flew to B-Sides London, and I am one of the I'm one of I'm one of the mentors. So that you have the option to be a mentor, to mentor a mentee, and I spoke to one of the I was mentoring a mentee that's based in London, and I told him that because he's new to IT, he's new to cybersecurity, and I straight up told him you should do a talk on London, and he's like, that's like really weird. Like, why would I do a talk? And I told him, oh, do a talk because if you do a talk, you're going to be hiring managers there, job recruiters. They're gonna be a bunch of people there, and they'll see what your talk is about. And I flew out to London. I saw him. I was trying to soften him up a little and break the ice because he was super nervous. And he did his talk on Microsoft Sentinel and SIM solutions, and it was a really good talk, and everyone really enjoyed it. And he's like super surprised how well he did, and because of that, he was able to network with hiring managers that actually are willing to hire at that conference. And I told him that, yeah, that's why you do talks, because if you do talks, people will come and reach out to you and talk to you. And there was just happened to be a bunch of managers there, and they took a copy of his resume. So I'm not sure what happened with him. I probably have to email him and ask him more information about how that went with him. But I know that there were managers there. So my advice for someone that's watching this, I definitely recommend you submit a talk. Even if you have no experience, submit a talk and see what happens, because a lot of hiring managers are there when you're going to conference events. And another thing I would recommend too, if you're going to conference events, like a lot of these conference events, they give you the ticket for free if you volunteer. So like if you volunteer, they'll give you the ticket for free, and that also gives you an opportunity to volunteer, and that also gives you an opportunity to network. So like maybe you go into a conference event, you're volunteering, and they have a hiring manager happens to be there, you don't know, and you give them a copy of your resume. So those things are very important as well for anyone that's watching. And for me as well, like I know some people are not good at talking. So like I would recommend you look at Toastmasters. So Toastmasters are a great way to learn how to talk. And I also would recommend, which is my favorite one, which is what I've been. This is what helped me increase my followers. Is join Vets to Industry. So Vets to Industry has social events that are absolutely free, and this is for civilians and also veterans. And they put you in breakout rooms every Saturday, and you have 500 people. They put you in the breakout rooms of like 10 people, and then you have to sell yourself for 30 seconds. You do like a sales pitch, and you talk to like hiring managers and job recruiters, and it's free. So by the time you're done with that virtual conference event, you guys go back to the same room. You have 500, 600 connections and 500, 600 followers. So I'm definitely going to recommend that as well, and it's free. Like I had connections from like Twitter, Instagram, Selfpoint, Adobe, Microsoft. So like all those like recruiters were there, and I connected with them. So like, and that's free. So like I would recommend you, and it gives you an opportunity to talk, network, and get to know hiring managers. So I am going to recommend that as well. So that's my T-bit advice. The last one for me is also going to be like, if you are watching this, like don't sleep on soft skills, and don't sleep on fundamentals, because like the soft skills is like if you go into a cybersecurity job and you go to a cybersecurity job and you're too technical and you're talking to an executive and you're trying to ask him, oh, okay, we need this specific product, and you're trying to like do a presentation on that, and you're too technical, the executives are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you have to be really good with soft skills, especially if you work in cybersecurity. You have to know how to talk to them in a non-tech way, because they're either going to buy the software or they're going to buy the coffee machine. So it's either one or the other. So like if you're not good at talking, and they're like, yeah, just get the cappuccino machine. We're not going to get whatever you're asking for. Why the hell do we need that firewall? It's not going to do anything, right? So that's really important, and that's my tidbit advice.
So make sure that you are able to speak and about random topics, right? Being able to present. And what's the saying that the best way to learn is to teach, right? I don't know if you've heard that. So be
Yeah, yeah,
willing to
yeah.
put yourself out there. And you're right. Even HDI conferences, right? Support World Live and Service Manager Live. Every year they do a call for speakers. So if you're subscribed to the HDI Support World Live newsletter, you'll see it. They release it to all those subscribers, say, hey, and they post it on LinkedIn. We want speakers. And all you got to do is think about a topic you're passionate about, put together kind of an idea and some takeaways, and you can submit to speak, right? And
Mm.
put yourself in a room full of people who are in the same industry, who are maybe hiring, maybe just looking to learn, but you're also going to learn, get to network with those people. So I love that idea. No one's throwing that out as advice, but it's such a good piece of advice is, hey, put your name out there to speak. And I don't know if you have people who's like, hey, Kev, I didn't get accepted. Well, try again, right? Try
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Try again,
Hmm.
get some feedback, try again. Make sure your soft skills are on par, because those matter no matter what you're doing. I love that. I love how short, sweet, precise those are, and so important. So, Kev, the way we like to wrap up every episode of Bytes and Banter is we like to ask the guest a specific question. So I'm going to ask you that question, final send off question, before I let you plug your LinkedIn and plug any resources you want to. But the question for you, Kev, is if you could hit rewind and you could talk to, let's say, fast food Kev, maybe just first into IT Kev, somewhere in your history, what are the words of wisdom or advice you would give younger Kev if you could turn back time and go meet younger Kev? What are those words of wisdom or advice?
Oh my, oh man. If I knew about IT, I would have talked to someone. Well, actually, I would have talked to myself when I worked in a restaurant to get started a lot sooner. So like, I started in my 20s. If I knew about IT, I would have done it a lot earlier. I probably would be like a manager at this point or something. I don't know, right? So my advice to myself back in time would be, Kev, get into IT right now. Don't stay in restaurant. So that would be my advice to myself if I had to go back in time.
What about early career Kev, early IT career Kev?
Early IT career, Kev, would for me would be like, this job is not the best job in the world, but it's gonna get you experience. So keep doing it. Don't get upset. Don't get angry that the job isn't that great. But at the end of the day, it's experience you have on your resume. So disregard the hardships and just do your job, and it's gonna help you elevate yourself to the next job. That would be my advice for that, Kevin.
So get into IT sooner. Number one, and jump it, go for it, jump in, knee deep, right? Get in. And number two, this job may not be what you're looking for, might not be the most fun, but keep pushing. Keep pushing. The better jobs are on the other side of that. So keep learning. I love it. So, Kev,
Mhm.
before we wrap up, where can people follow you? Where can they, obviously subscribe on YouTube, but where else, what other resources would you point people to be able to connect with you?
Yeah, so you could find me as KevTech IT Support on YouTube. You could find me as Kevin Apolinario on LinkedIn. If you want to go to my website, I have a free website that I created myself. Go to kevtechitsupport.com, which literally is my handle for YouTube. So kevtechitsupport.com. I have resources there for free for anyone that's a veteran. I have a section just for veterans for free resources. And I have a section there for resources for free for people that are trying to get into IT and cybersecurity. I also have a resume template in there as well, and a lot of helpful information on my website for someone that's brand new trying to get into IT. So definitely recommend that website.
Lots of good resources. It's been such a good conversation. So encouraged by your story, Kev. Thankful for you taking the time to spend with us and to talk about your journey and, offer some just nuggets of wisdom that, your experience is unique to provide to our listener. So that being said, we will catch you on the next episode of Bytes and Banter.
So you guys.